Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Friends, greetings, and welcome to the Encounter program, sponsored by the Broome County Council of Churches. I'm your host, Mark Kimpland, the pastor at the Endwell United Methodist Church. Our guest this morning is Christie Finch, and she is the Director of Perinatal Programs with Mothers and Babies of the Parinatal Network right here in Binghamton. Christie, welcome to the Encounter program.
Thank you very much for having us.
I am so glad that you accepted this invitation. I am always motivated, inspired to hear stories of things that are working in our area in Broome County, and reaching out to you and getting the information you shared. I couldn't wait to get started in this and such. So if you're okay, I'd like to just dive right into our time together today. Great. Well, can you kind of just give us a snapshot? There may be folks listening and watching the show, like me, that don't know a whole lot about it. But if you could give just a snapshot of what this organization does, and then we'll get into more specifics as to how they execute all of that. But a snapshot of your organization.
Sure. So I think the first thing that I kind of want to dispel right away is that our name is Mothers and Babies Parinatal Network, but you don't have to be a mother or a baby in order to receive services from us. Yeah. And I do think that that's a little bit of a misnomer in the community if you've heard of us before. We help dads, we help grandparents, we help individuals without children, we help teenagers. So I think that it's important to understand that just because our name is Mothers and Babies Parinatal Network, it's sort of where we grew up from our roots, but we do serve more than just mothers and babies. We do have 4 program areas. The first is our perinatal services, and like I said, that's sort of where we started. We wanted to ensure that everyone had connections to services in the community that they deserved and that they were eligible for, and that would help them in their journey. Our goal is really to keep babies alive. It's really to make sure that moms have the support that they need and that they can thrive where they are. So that's where we started, and then we realized that we had some more work to do. We knew that in order for moms to get the proper health care, in order for them to get the services that they need, they were going to need to be insured. You're not going to go to the doctor if you can't afford to pay for it. Right. So we worked really hard to make sure that everyone in the community gets health insurance. So we have a health insurance program. Our navigators help people through the marketplace. They help people get Medicaid. They help people understand insurance benefits and work with them a little bit to figure out which one fits them. And they do some income eligibility so that if they're eligible for free or low-cost programs, they're able to enroll with them. And then also, for their children and the rest of their families, like I said, you don't have to be a mother or a baby to access that service. And then along the way, we realized, we really need to support families. Families, maybe haven't parented before. Maybe they haven't had good experience with parenting. Maybe they just need to connect with other parents in the community and learn from each other and feel supported in this new endeavor that they're raising children. And so we created our family resource centers in order to do that. We have drop-in, we have folks there that can help with mentoring. We have a number of programs, and so really that's our family support program. We just support families wherever they're at and try to make sure that they have what they need. And then we also realized that sometimes poor birth outcomes come from lack of knowledge, lack of information when you're a teenager. We know that our teens can have some tough decisions to make at a young age when maybe they're not prepared to make those decisions. So we have a youth service arm that goes into schools and helps people understand what a healthy relationship looks like, what they can expect from their relationships, what they should be able to expect from their relationships, and helps them kind of delay pregnancy and understand that they have some goals that they might want to meet before they go into parenthood. So that's where our youth service arms comes from. So that's our 4 program areas. That's awesome.
Being a pastor, I kind of like to get deeper theologically just for a moment, if I could.
Okay.
This has been around for how long, did you say?
30 years.
30 years. So somewhere in the beginning of that 30 years, someone, or maybe a group of someone's, saw the need. What was the pulse of beginning this program back 30 years ago? There must have been something deep within someone or some people that saw a need. Can you speak on that just for a moment?
Absolutely. So what happened, from my understanding, and I've only been with the organization for 23 years, so I know enough to be dangerous, probably. Yes. But from my understanding, a group of individuals, specifically from UHS and from Lourdes, identified that, what we call now social determinants of health. Things that people really need, basic needs that people have that affect their health. So, they knew that, looking back, that when they provided prenatal care for women, even if they provided excellent care and women went as soon as they found out that they were pregnant, and they, were able to come to every single appointment, they knew that there were some things in their lives that were really affecting their health that didn't have a lot to do with whatever health care that they were being provided. So our executive director has been there from the beginning of those conversations. The grant started as an outreach and education grant to providers to help them understand that they needed to dive a little bit deeper into women's lives, do some standardized assessments, which really meant looking at their mental health, looking at what they had at home available to them. Were they in domestic violence situations? Did they have enough food? Did they have a place to live? Were there other stressors in their lives that were affecting how their health, was manifesting at these appointments? And so that's how it started. It started, really looking at what was going on in women's lives that didn't have much to do with the doctor, that, we could support women and make sure that they had better birth outcomes, based on what services they were connected to and how they were supported in the community.
Yeah, holistic approach. It's not just the
30 years
visit.
ago, we didn't have any names for anything.
Kind of made it up as you went along, and it worked, and fine-tuned it, and all of that. Do you mind if I ask about you? What is it within you that got excited about this at the ground level, and really wanted to become a part of what this has emerged to today?
So I'll start out with my background. I worked as a mental health counselor and as a senior counselor for 5 years before I went to Mothers and Babies. And then I had my first daughter. And when she was 9 months old, it sort of occurred to me that my schedule was not going to align with, raising a child. So I had a kind of a mid-shift schedule. I worked from 1:30 to 9:30. I had a couple of shifts of mental health counselors that I oversaw. So I started looking for other things and didn't know much about perinatal health except what I had to find out on my own. So I identified Mothers and Babies as a potential, place to work. I interviewed there, saw the wonderful work that they did, and then really realized that, if I didn't know as a mother of a 9-month-old what to do, and had to, do all of this research, and you don't know what you don't know until you are there and you realize that I didn't know anything. And so, there was this great place where you had opportunities to learn and to meet other people and to, be supported and get answers to your questions. When should their teeth come in? Geez, are they developing the way that they should be? Are they walking when they should be? Are they talking when they should be? Because all parents need to know that information. It doesn't mean you could be a biochemical engineer and know nothing about when your child should say their first word, right? Everybody needs help. Everybody needs support. And so, this organization really provides that, from, basic needs, helping people interact with services that they're eligible for based on their income, to really helping people to understand child development and where their kids should be.
Awesome. Friends, our guest today is Christie Finch, who is the Director of Perinatal Programs with Mothers and Babies Parinatal Network. Let's dive in. I'm going to give you enough time here to kind of go through these 4 areas and really do a deep dive into them. And so I would recommend those that are listening or watching the best you can to jot down some of this information, and we'll provide ways also that you can connect with them. But with the 4 different areas and such things with the perinatal services, let's do a deeper dive into that. What are some more of the specifics that maybe some of our listeners and viewers might be able to tap into?
So our perinatal programs really start off as a home visiting program. We are looking to, like I said, connect women to services that they're eligible for. So that can really look like anything. Our community health workers meet with moms. They meet with people who are newly pregnant, and we work with families until the child is about 2 years of age.
Okay.
And our sole purpose is really to provide support. So if we meet a family and they don't have enough food, we can help them fill out SNAP applications. We can help them get into emergency assistance programs. We can help them identify food pantries. And sometimes it's a little bit intimidating to access those services by yourself. So our community health workers have been known to attend a community meal with a family so that they're more comfortable, understanding what the service is and how to get their families there and how to get their families fed. They've been known to stand in line at the food pantries with families. Sometimes they can go and pick up the food for families that don't have transportation or that have an illness, and drop that off for them. It's more than just basic needs. It's support. All families need support.
Yes.
So when we're talking about families who they're brand new parents and they're what do I do?
No stress there.
No, you have about 48 hours in the hospital to learn everything you need to know about being a parent, and then they hand you this child and you're expected to keep it alive. I'm not even sure how that's supposed to happen. I remember that feeling. I'm like leaving the hospital going, I can't believe somebody's letting me go home with this child, and they're my sole responsibility. And I know that parents across the board feel that way, and it doesn't matter. You can be your first child, it can be your fifth child.
Sure.
Every child is different. You have different responsibilities. Now you have to try to figure out how to get this one to softball practice and how to keep this one alive, make sure that they're on a good feeding schedule. So it's really support for parents in all realms. Our community health workers go into the hospitals locally. So you might see them at Lourdes or at UHS. They talk to new moms that are on the floor and offer services and support so that, you don't have to worry about trying to find us. We'll most likely find
track you down.
That's right. And I think it's important for people to know that we're not part of any agency that is going to be like, oh, your house is a mess or you're not doing what you're supposed to do. That's not what we're there for. We're there really just to provide services and to help support families however they need the support. We meet with families who are currently residing in hotel rooms because they don't have a house to live in. Housing stock in Broome County is difficult, and so it's hard to find housing for families, and many families are staying temporarily in hotels paid for by DSS until they're able to find a place for their family to live. So we'll go to the hotels. You don't have to have a house, you don't have to have an apartment. We'll go wherever you are. If you aren't comfortable with us coming into your house, you can come to our offices. We'll meet you, wherever you want to meet. We'll meet you in the Family Resource Center. We'll come and try to figure out together what services we can help you access.
And that's a great point because having children and such things, you don't know what you don't need or what you might need, and it's kind of, you learn it as you go along, and to have somebody there to say, we could help you with that, and you didn't even know what that was.
Right.
And that's profound. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll see, we have a pack and play program. So anybody with a child under 1 year of age who doesn't have a safe place for them to sleep, we do sit on the Broome County Child Fatality Review Team, and we see unfortunate circumstances of people that didn't know where they could get a pack and play, didn't know that they were, it's not an income eligibility thing. If you don't have a safe place for your baby to sleep, we will give you one. And so, we, offer that service as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, let's move then to the family support services. What can you do a deeper dive in that? What would you like our listeners and viewers to know about that dimension of what you do?
So our family support services look at supporting families. I mean, it's in the name. We have some coordinators that are in the program that can do one-on-one mentoring. So if a family, is looking for some parenting skills, some help, trying to figure out how to manage behaviors of children, figure out how to provide some, guidelines for discipline, we have people that can do that. We also offer a space for Catholic Charities to do their regular parenting programs. So we will provide the child care. So that's sometimes tough to do too. Right. You know that you could use some parenting skills. You could use some brush up on figuring out discipline techniques and making sure that you and your partner, if you're a single person raising a child, are doing the best that you can. But what do you do with your child while you're trying to learn this information? So we provide the space at the Pale Family Resource Center for our staff to do the child care and for Catholic Charities to provide the parenting program. And you get to meet other parents in that program too, which is nice.
Yes.
People that are going through the same thing as you, tantrums, people that are, trying to figure out how to deal with those tantrums together. Stories are, always great to share, because then you're not in the boat alone.
Right, yes.
So it's nice to be able to get people together. We have a clothing closet, so for children under 8 years of age, we do accept donations for the clothing closet, and then those donations go right back out the door for people that need them. It's completely free. You don't have to pay for any of the clothes that are in the clothing closet, and so people will come and access. Winter comes, your child has grown out of their last year's winter coat, their boots, whatever. We have, we're able to provide some of that assistance. And then we also provide a space for families who have been disconnected from their children for some reason. Maybe they, had a removal. Maybe something happened in their lives where their child is being taken care of by somebody else and they need some place to do their visits. We provide that space for free. And it can be supervised visits, it can be unsupervised visits. We have drop-ins, people that come in and say, hey, my mother is currently taking care of my child, but I need a place to visit with them. Can we come into your center? We have, anytime during open hours, we offer supervised visits. We have a big, huge play space. So, we have art supplies, and we have climbing activities, and we have push toys, and, all sorts of things that, children like to play with. And then we also have private space. So we have a few rooms that if you want to, meet in a private setting with just you and your child, maybe it's a little quieter, maybe you have a couple of older children that like to play board games. We have private space that we can offer to, and we have a library and story time, and there's lots of activities. I would really encourage people to go on our website and look at our list of activities through our calendar that we have going on.
Would you like to give your website at this time? Yeah, please.
It's www.mothersandbabies.org. Pretty easy to find. All of our programs are there. It's the Pale Family Resource Center that will provide information about the calendar of events, and kind of go from there. We have talk times. We have other community members that come in and talk about what they do. We have assessments. We have really fun activities. During the holidays, we have arts and crafts. Lots of stuff going on. So even if you're just looking, like it's winter time, you can't get to the park, you're looking for some place to come and do an activity or play indoors and meet other people, it's a good place to come and hang out.
Awesome. Friends, our guest today is Christie Finch, the Director of Perinatal Programs with Mothers and Babies. I have two children who are educators. Is there, and this just kind of popped into my mind, is there any work with school districts or schools and such things in either of these four areas? And if so, how does that work, or how does that materialize, or doesn't it?
It does. So we have our youth service arm, our youth service program. That's primarily what they do. We don't see any of our youth educators for the entire school year because they are at a school or another. So I did fail to mention, we cover 7 counties. So we are out a lot.
Yes.
So our educators go into schools and they provide information for primarily middle school and high school students. On hygiene. They talk about health relationships, they talk about good decision making. They do use evidence-based programming that's approved by New York State to give that information to middle school and high school students. They talk about the difference between a good and a bad relationship and how you know if you're in one. And it's not just relationships like with a partner, but it can be relationships with friends, it can be relationships with peers, with parents. They work with students on a number of different life skills. And I actually had my list of life skills because I was afraid I was going to leave some out. They do a food rocks. So they talk about nutrition and they talk about healthy, my plate, and look at how to read labels and how to know that you're getting the nutrients that you need. They talk about things that we all wish that we knew when we were teenagers trying to figure the world out. They look at how to write a resume, how to go to an interview, how to identify in an apartment, what to look for. Like if it seems like a really good deal because the rent's pretty low, but the windows are bad and you're going to have to pay as much for utilities as you do for the rent. They talk about, what to look for. They talk about, so that's apartment hunt. They talk about budgeting. How do I put a budget together? How do I write a check? What even is a check? Are they obsolete? How do we do that? They look at personal hygiene. They look at dating for real, what to look for on a dating relationship, sexual violence awareness, anger management, how to manage your feelings, mental health. Your mental health matters. They go through really what to look for and how to access services that might boost your mental health, or what you can do for yourself to make yourself feel better. They talk about what the health is, looking at insurance. A lot of kids come out, they don't have insurance. They've never had to access. They've been on their parents' insurance. Sure. They don't know how to access services. They don't know how to use insurance. They don't know how to get insurance. So they have a module that talks about those things too. So really, all of the life skills that we really wish that we had, they have identified a module to assist with those.
That's amazing. What a gift.
It is, and they work with parents too. So, if you are looking at trying to figure out how to talk to your teen about really tough topics, and teens are exposed to so much more than, I hate to date myself, but I am almost 50. So back when I was a teen, we didn't have exposure to all of the stuff that kids have exposure to now, and they're really trying to juggle all of this information and process it. And it's tough, and it's tough for parents to help guide them, I think, with not as much experience with this exposure. So our youth educators are excellent at helping parents communicate with their kids.
That is so optimistic, that these services are available for them and for families and youth and babies, and it's just, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. What about the health insurance program? Is there a deep dive that you want to do with that?
Sure.
That seems so important these days. It's just vital.
It is, and like I said, we knew early on that people weren't going to access services that they need without health insurance. And so our health insurance, we have a couple of services under health insurance programs. One is just getting health insurance. You can call into our agency, you can set up an appointment. Currently, you can do a phone appointment or an in-person appointment. You can access the New York State of Health. I don't know if anybody's had to try to access that on their own, but it's a bit confusing. And I'm it's sort of a nice way to say it. It's really, really confusing. So our health insurance navigators have been trained to get through that service and help people find out what programs they're eligible for. They'll do income eligibility programs so they can help sign people up for Medicaid, which is completely free, or the Essential Plan, which is also a low cost or free program based on income eligibility. They help people get Child Health Plus for their kids. They can help navigate the marketplace in all the level plans. So if you've been in the New York State marketplace, you'll see that there's metal level plans. So there's a bronze level, there's a silver level, gold level, and platinum level for each of the products that are available there. And they'll walk through and say, okay, so what doctors do you use most often? Does your doctor accept this insurance? What are you at a place where you want to pay a low deductible, but you might have to pay a higher rate for prescriptions or for different things. They'll help them figure all of that out, because that's a spreadsheet in and of itself. Okay, this doctor I go to, this specialist I go to, I need these medications, and I might visit urgent care at the hospital this many times a year, and so what plan is best for me in order to be able to afford it and also to be able to get to my appointments. So all of our navigators are able to sort of help figure all of that out. And then on top of that, we have this wonderful person in our office who really just deals with insurance issues. So once you get insurance, or you have, maybe it's been a while since you had insurance and so you had a gap in insurance, she is able to take all of your information, say you have back payment, she'll advocate for you with the insurance companies to figure out how to be able to afford that. Say you have a denial, and this doesn't have, you don't have to go through the insurance program, through our insurance navigators in order to get access to her. Her job is really just to advocate for families on behalf of their insurance. So she'll talk to their insurance program, she'll gather all their information. We've been able to get backdated bills paid. We've been able to work out payment plans for people. We've been able to get them into the patient assistance programs through one of the local hospitals to decrease the amount of money that they have to pay. She's able to find them cheaper prescription coverage if they need that. So really, her job is just to all of those insurance issues that you get these bills and it gets overwhelming and you don't know what to do. You call into our agency and she can assist with that.
Oh my goodness. Let me ask you this. There's a passion within you.
I've been there for 23 years. It's hard to say I don't like it.
It's very palatable. What's been your biggest takeaway? What's been in this service and such things, or the biggest surprise, or aha, or revelation, or can you put your finger on that? What's been maybe the biggest lesson that you've learned as you've gone through over 2 decades of service here? Have there been surprises, ahas, epiphanies?
I think the biggest takeaway, honestly, is that everyone needs someone. Everyone needs this service. It's not about income. It's not about, I don't have enough money to feed my family or to support my family the way that I think that I should, and so I need this service. It's not about that. Everyone needs it. Everyone needs parenting information. Everyone needs support. Everyone at some point, like I said, you don't know what you don't know until you get there, and you're lost. So I think that honestly is my biggest takeaway. It's not just about supporting folks that, maybe don't have enough money or maybe are struggling a little bit. It's really about coming together and supporting every single person in this journey of parenthood and, trying to make the best of their current situation. It may, like I said, you don't have to be a mother or a baby. You might have a single guy who was like, I don't have health insurance. I have to go to the doctor. I don't know what to do. Right. So they can come in and get support. And because of all of the services that we offer, you literally can walk through the door and say, I don't know what to do. And someone will be there and say, okay, let's figure out what to do. Right. It may not be a service that we offer, but we also are a resource entity, so we can also help you navigate what other services are available in the community that might better help with your current situation. And so many people at our agency have been there for so long. We all kind of share the same passion. We're kind of like, well, if we need a flat, you have a flat tire, we'll figure out how to fix it.
We know a guy. Whatever it takes. Well, that's simply amazing. Again, friends, our guest today is Christie Finch, and she's with the Mothers and Babies Perinatal Network. And I just thank you for what you're doing. It's a blessing to so many, and just the layers is very, 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 very impressive, and I thank you for that. But I do want to give you the last word. We have about a minute left. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners and viewers that maybe you haven't yet, or you want to reinforce?
Yep, 2 exciting things.
Please.
One that I have not mentioned, we are planning to open a new family resource center in the spring in the Johnson City area so that we can service more of our community. So that information is just kind of brand new information, so that's really exciting. We're going to be able to serve more people. And then the other thing I just want to mention is our major fundraising event is coming up. We do have a fashion show. It is in April, and more information is available on our website about that. But it is our major fundraiser, and some of the stuff that we do is grant funded, but some of the stuff that we do, we really rely on donations for, like the Pack and Play program. We don't have a direct funding source for that. We rely on donations in order to be able to buy those for families. Right.
And the best way to contact you folks is?
Probably phone 607-772-0517, or you can go to our website, and there's opportunity to connect with us that way as well.
Awesome. Christie, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all the good work that you folks are doing. My takeaway is that we all qualify, because
absolutely
no one really knows what they're doing. And you have answers and avenues and opportunities for people to get it right, or to do it better than they are now. So
that's right.
Thank you so much. And friends, thank you so much for joining us today on our time together. May God bless you this day and all your